But he's damaged now, and people will know that he's got that vulnerability about him, and he can be knocked out.
Because I said this man's like a chameleon, changes colours to fit in within, infiltrate his environment. He knows that will suss him. All that acting games and that, he uses it as a smoke screen to cover what's actually really going on. I'm not going to elaborate anymore.
I said it before the fight, even today, before today, that Daniel Dubois would never pass 5 rounds if he kept boxing like the same way he boxed last time he fought Usyk. But he did the same. There was no jab, nothing changed. He deserved the knockout because he never changed something like
Daniel Dubois walked into that ring with dreams of glory, but what unfolded against Oleksandr Usyk wasn't just a loss, it was a brutal unveiling of his deepest flaws on the world stage. From the opening bell, Barry McGuigan set the tone, laying out exactly what fans had witnessed. Dubois, he said, was damaged now. The former world champion didn't sugarcoat his analysis. Dubois had been battered from round 1.
I think I give Dubois maybe a share of 1 or possibly 1 round. But he was battered in those 5 rounds, and it was only a matter of time. And it was great the way he could take him out so clinically. It was, to show that he can punch and take guys out, big, strong, powerful guys like.
Given barely a sliver of credit and completely dismantled by a man many had called a legitimate threat. Usyk didn't just outbox Dubois, he broke him down methodically, stripping away every weapon and exposing the limits of his resolve. The clinical finish wasn't a lucky shot, it was the culmination of a masterclass in control, patience, and precision. McGuigan didn't stop there. What came next hit even harder than any of Usyk's punches.
Fight was spectacular, and Dubois can come back, but he's damaged now, and people will know that he's got that vulnerability about him, and he can be knocked out.
He delivered the cold reality that fighters dread to hear. Dubois has been exposed, McGuigan said, and in the heavyweight division, vulnerability is a death sentence. Once fighters see that weakness, they hunt it down. Those words carried a chilling truth. Usyk hadn't just won a fight, he had cracked Dubois' psychological armor. The mental scars now linger like an open wound.
I'm just super happy for Usyk, inspiring, silenced a lot of people, and he showed that he's one of the top 3 all-time heavyweights.
The punch Dubois takes from this point forward will carry a different weight because his opponents know he can be broken, and the praise for Usyk didn't stop with McGuigan. Celebrity voices and fighters from all corners of the boxing world poured in to acknowledge the magnitude of his performance. Even Jake Paul, never one to mince words, admitted Usyk had delivered something truly special. Usyk rose to legendary status that
first 2 shots in the fight hit Daniel on the chin, and then that's when Daniel just quit. He could not gather himself. He didn't throw the double jab. He didn't actually say no one.
He didn't step into it.
He didn't bite his gumshoe and say, no, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. When you say the first 2 shots in the fight, they went to the chin, then he quit, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, he just folded, he just quit. I mean, like, in a way, not quit like walking out the ring. Quit off like, you know what, I'm just going to try and survive.
That night, Paul said. Dubois looked lost, and Usyk just kept climbing. This wasn't just a win, it was a legacy statement. I'm super happy for him. He's inspiring and he silenced a lot of people. He's one of the top 3 heavyweights of all time. But if McGuigan and Paul's words felt harsh, Derek Chisora's assessment took things to an entirely different level. Known for his rugged durability and take no prisoners mentality.
First 2 shots in the fight hit Daniel on the chin, and then that's when Daniel just quit. He could not gather himself. He didn't throw the double jab. He didn't actually say no one.
He didn't step into it.
He didn't bite his gumshoe and say, no, I'm just going to go for it.
Yeah. When you say the first 2 shots in the fight, they went to the chin, then he quit, what do you mean by that?
I mean, like, he just folded, he just quit. I mean, like, in a way, not quit like walking out the ring. Quit off like, you know what, I'm just going to...
Chisora didn't hold back one bit. He checked out mentally, Chisora said bluntly. That's not a technical critique, that's a condemnation. Quitting is the ultimate disgrace. For a fighter like Chisora, who's fought through broken bones and brutal wars, quitting is unforgivable. Dubois wasn't just being questioned, he was being rejected by the very warriors who define the sport. And now Dubois himself...
I'm not stunned, I know that
he broke him down, right? He broke him down, he was patient. Daniel Dubois did, for me, looked better. Like landed some good shots in the beginning, it was going back and forth. And he got Usyk's attention, but he was patient. Feints, movement, footwork.
Himself was forced to explain what had happened. He tried to label the fight as a learning experience, but the words rang hollow. Fans weren't looking for excuses, they wanted answers. Saying he would come back stronger only seemed to remind everyone of the image that was burned into their memory. Dubois backing away under pressure, unable to find solutions. It wasn't about what he said now, it was about what he could prove. Did he still have the heart of a warrior inside him? Joseph Parker, another respected heavy...
He was unbelievable. He was on form today. He boxed great. He did the right things. He was counter-punching, and he was moving well, and he wasn't getting caught. And he started off with a jab, so what can you...
Heavyweight voice had seen it coming. He praised Usyk's patience and precision, pointing out that Dubois had been broken down piece by piece. This wasn't a flash knockout or some wild shot, Parker explained. Usyk dismantled him slowly and deliberately. Against high IQ fighters like Usyk, brute force alone isn't enough, and that's exactly where Dubois failed. Lennox Lewis, the former undisputed heavyweight champion, echoed those sentiments with even more weight. When I call someone unbelievable, it's because they've ticked every box of boxing brilliance, Lewis said. Footwork, jab, counterpunching, Usyk had it all. Dubois was never ready for this level, not physically, not mentally. When a legend like Lewis speaks with that kind of admiration for your opponent, you know the gulf in class was enormous. Conor Benn went one step further, invoking the name of
best heavyweight there is currently, and I don't see anybody beating him.
Is he as good as Muhammad Ali? It's not a crazy thing to say, I don't think, at this point.
Yeah, the thing is, you can't really do the comparisons, do you know what I mean? But I do think he's one of the best currently now to do it.
Who do you want to see Usyk fight next, or just sail off?
He can sail off into the sunset, and he's done everything. Do you know what I mean? He's phenomenal fighter, man. You're watching him, I'm just watching him, I'm going, oh my God. Like, that's God-given talent.
Muhammad Ali when speaking about Usyk's performance. That's not just hype, Ben insisted. That's serious respect. Usyk fought like a heavyweight artist at the absolute peak of his craft. Movement, feints, control. He painted a masterpiece in there. Dubois was swinging like a deer in headlights. This loss didn't just elevate Usyk's stock, it opened up discussions about his place among the greatest heavyweights in history. The gap between Usyk's brilliance and Dubois' shortcomings was so glaring that the comparison to Ali didn't feel outrageous. Dubois wasn't just outboxed, he was used as a measuring stick for greatness, and he fell short, very short. Martin Bacola, another contender in the division, had predicted Dubois' downfall before the fight. He claimed he had seen the same flaws repeated time and time again. No jab, no adjustments, no evolution. This wasn't a guess, Bacol said after
I said it before the fight, even today, before today, that Daniel Dubois would never pass 5 rounds if he kept boxing like the same way he boxed last time he fought Usyk. But he did the same. There was no jab, nothing changed. He deserved the knockout because he never changed something like
the fight. I called it because I saw the same laziness and the same repetitive style against a monster like Usyk. That's a death sentence. Bacol's words carried an edge of mockery as he laughed at Dubois' downfall. You deserved it, he said. Your career isn't just hurt, it's humiliated. Dubois' loss wasn't just a setback. It was evidence that he hadn't learned from past failures. Meanwhile, Usyk continued to climb the ladder of greatness, dominating cruiserweights and heavyweights alike. Bacol's message was simple. If you bring the same game every time, you'll get sent home the same way, broken. Dubois tried to maintain his dignity by praising Usyk and vowing to return, but even his supporters could sense the hollowness behind the words. It didn't sound...
I have to commend him on the performance. I gave everything I had. It just wasn't... Probably a few things I could have sharpened up on, but take no credit away from the man.
Like the voice of a confident warrior ready for vengeance. Saying he had given everything only raised more questions, because if that was his best, it was miles below what's needed at the world level. Commending Usyk's brilliance didn't mask the truth. Dubois had no answers, no jab, no defense, and zero momentum. The fans saw a fighter get outclassed in every department. Promises of coming back stronger no longer carried weight. Even David Adelaide, one of Dubois' contemporaries, struggled to balance sympathy with realism. Dubois gets doubted a lot, Adelaide admitted, but performances like this keep justifying those doubts. Getting in the ring earns respect, no doubt. But staying in the fight when it gets brutal, that's where he failed. Adalai gave him credit for showing up, but Usyk got all the real applause. That's what separates legends from hopefuls. Admittedly, Adalai's words were kinder than others, but the truth...
I think Usyk keeps proving himself. He gets doubted a lot. And I think he's proven himself so many times that it's kind of crazy that people doubt him. But you got to give credit to Daniel for getting in there. He tried the thing. And more credit to Usyk for pulling it off time and time again.
The truth was still clear. Dubois might have shown courage by stepping into the ring, but true courage in boxing is surviving the storm, not folding in it. And if there was one voice that summarized Dubois' total breakdown perfectly, it was Johnny Nelson. Nelson didn't just analyze the fight, he conducted a post-mortem. Usyk didn't just win, Nelson said. He stripped Dubois down to nothing. Jab gone, power neutralized. Footwork useless, confidence obliterated. By round 5, he looked like a man lost in a storm with no umbrella. Nelson emphasized that Dubois' downfall wasn't caused by one punch, but by a cumulative realization. The realization that he didn't belong in the ring with Usyk. That kind of psychological damage lingers long after the final bell. Joe Gallagher, a respected trainer, tried to explain the technicalities of how Dubois got caught. He highlighted moments where Dubois attempted to force Usyk to the ropes, thinking he could land heavy shots. But Gallagher admitted what everyone else saw. Usyk wasn't reacting. He was orchestrating. That check hook, that follow-up...
What he did to Daniel, it took away everything, all his attributes. He took away his jab, took away his power, took away his movement, took away his confidence, to the point where Daniel was putting his backside on the floor thinking, wow, you know, we're only in round 5 here and I'm getting chopped up. This guy who's
left. It was all calculated. Dubois walked straight into it with no awareness, no guard, no backup plan. Gallagher called it unfortunate, but in truth, Dubois was systematically hunted and caught like prey. At the elite level, it doesn't matter how hard you punch if your chin is in the air and your eyes are wide open. This wasn't a freak shot. It was the culmination of everything Dubois lacks: ring IQ, timing, anticipation, composure. And the fact that Gallagher felt the need to soften the blow only reinforced the growing narrative. Dubois now looked mentally fragile. While Dubois searched for answers, Gallagher turned the spotlight back onto the man of the moment, Oleksandr Usyk. Usyk has absolutely nothing left to prove, Gallagher said. He's cleaned out cruiserweight. He's taken out heavyweight names. He's unified, conquered, and stood tall in every test. Now he's at that rare stage where the only thing left is the hunger of the new blood trying to catch him slipping. Dubois, Gallagher reminded everyone, had been supposed to be one of those new generation monsters. Instead, he became the latest fighter to get schooled and sent home bruised, both physically and psychologically. The gap between the old-school elite and the modern hype machines had never looked wider. Usyk's name was now firmly entrenched.
Case, and I think Daniel forced him into the ropes and he just walked onto a check hook high up on the head, and then obviously in the 2 phases of attack, Usyk did in them with the left hook around the side of the right hand. And he executed
among the greats because he wasn't just dominating divisions, he was dominating generations. Carl Frosch didn't focus on technical flaws. He questioned Dubois' mentality. Frosch revealed that Dubois had been hosting a pre-fight gathering before stepping into the ring with a pound-for-pound elite like Usyk. That's not just poor preparation, that's psychological self-sabotage, Frosch said. You're about to go to war and you're chatting with guests. That's not champion behavior, that's delusion. Frosch, who had lived through the mental grind of world title fights, understood the importance of focus. Maybe it was nerves, maybe it was arrogance. But either way, it backfired. Against a technician like Usyk, you need to be sharp mentally and physically. Dubois wasn't either. The tone in Frosch's voice said it all. Fighters remember details like this, and it feeds into the narrative. Dubois isn't just physically breakable. He's mentally distracted, emotionally vulnerable, and still far from world level. Daniel Dubois' reputation now hangs by a thread. From Barry McGuigan's honest assessment to Derek Chisora's public scolding, from Martin Bacole's mocking predictions to Carl Frosch's condemnation of his mindset, every voice rang the same truth. Dubois isn't ready.
I don't think there's nothing more for him to prove. What is he's in a situation like all good fighters when they start coming to the end of the career. You've got the next gen coming through. You've got your upperties that want to move up and fight him. You've got the young guns. I see.
Usyk exposed every weakness, took away his jab, drained his confidence, and left him questioning his own identity as a fighter. When your own trainer speaks of rebuilding, when legends start questioning your heart, and when the boxing world labels you damaged, the road back isn't just uphill, it's near vertical. Meanwhile, Usyk stands untouched, his greatness now compared to Muhammad Ali, his dominance stretching across generations. Dubois, once hyped as the future of the division, now finds himself facing doubts louder than cheers. Can he recover? Does he have the mental toughness to rebuild not just his body, but his spirit? Or is this the beginning of the end? What happens next will define everything. But make no mistake, there's no more hiding, no more excuses. The next move Daniel Dubois makes must be the biggest of his life, because if he doesn't answer back soon, he won't be remembered for what he achieved. He'll be remembered for how completely Oleksandr Usyk dismantled him. So do you believe Daniel Dubois can come back stronger? Or is his time at the top already over?